Hello, World of Tank Blitzers, it's Littlefinger. Hey, it's Halloween 2019, and we are going to revisit the Leo. I'm going to do a full tank review here today on, yes, the Leopard Tier 5 German light tank. And the reason for this review is that it recently got buffed up a little bit with, instead of 9 shots in a full clip, it now has 12 shots. So the DPM went up on it significantly, and it's now a really fun tank to play at Tier 5. Real quick, on the great nerfing, they took out a bunch of the lower tier tanks, and so the tech tree here looks a little bit different. So you have to play the Leo if you want to get to either the E50M or the Leopard 1. So as far as consumables and provisions, we'll just run through that real quick. Repair kit, multi-purpose, and engine boost. And now you only have choice on Tier 5 of 2 provisions. So we're running protective kit and chocolate bar. Ammunition, you can see here, I've got 100 rounds of APCR. You're going to lose a lot of money if you shoot all that, so keep that in mind. But you are going to need some APCR on this tank because the pen on it is not very good. And that kind of segues us nicely into the equipment. So I'm running calibrated shells, and part of the reason is if you run into a Tier 6 tank that is angled nicely, you're going to have a really difficult time penning from the front. So you're going to want all that pen you can get. I mean, it would be nice to run these vents and get the additional view range and all of the other traverse speed buffs that you get with it. But in the long run, I think you're going to want the calibrated shells. I'm running improved modules because this is a fast tank. You're going to run into things. People are going to run into you. And I basically equip this so that I get that reduction of 20% in ramming damage. Improved optics, obviously a light tank, we want a spot, so we want as much view range as possible. Enhanced gun lane drive. Aim time really isn't an issue so much with this tank, I don't think, because you want to be up close, because the dispersion on it is horrible. So I could see an argument going here, supercharge or enhanced gun lane drive. The armor's not great, so I've gone with improved assembly, get that 40 additional hit points. Engine accelerator, vertical stabilizer, you want that accuracy while you're on the move again. Enhanced tracks and consumable delivery system. Alright, blitzstars.com, using their tank compare section here. There's only 3 light tanks at Tier 5. The VK16.02 Leopard that we're talking about, and the AMX and Crusader. Thrown in some other tanks just to round it out so that you can get a full comparison. So at 1500, we're right in line there with the Crusader, which does not have near as much speed and mobility as the Leopard. The AMX, which does, as you can see, is woefully low in damage per minute, but it has the highest penetration of any of these tanks. So that's your kind of your trade-off, and that's what Wargaming does with all of these tanks. They've got strengths and weaknesses, and you just need to learn how to play them to best fit that tank that you're in. So at 940 shell velocity, it's great. Nothing to worry about that. Weapon handling, aim time and dispersion are right in line with these other tanks. So the tank does feel that you can't have much control after you've let that first shot loose, but it's actually really not that bad. It's got 10 degrees of gun depression, and then 60 kilometers per hour as the top speed. So this is super fun tank. It gets around the battlefield, and to me now with this additional DPM added to it, you can really carry some games in it. Now, Tier 5 is not what it used to be, but you're going to see that in some of these battles. But we move on down here. The 86% credit coefficient is not super great. Obviously, it's better than most of these other here that I've pulled up. But the problem is pen's bad. You're going to have to use APCR of your premium ammo, so can get costly in some battles in which you stay alive for a while. Keep in mind here, 50 millimeters of armor in the front, 30 on the sides, and 30 in the back. So again, not the greatest. So keep that in mind as well as we get into some battles. All right, guys, first game, Oasis Palms. I'm bottom tier, and wanted to just show the statistic here from Blitz Hanger. And these are the changes to the tank with this latest update. And you can see a huge upgrade there to the damage per minute. Well, that's obvious if you're going from 9 shells to 12. But also keep in mind here at the bottom, the dispersion factors have gone from one rotating turret from 0.16 to 0.10. And then the big one here from 2.4 to 1.3 for your dispersion after shot. So, keep in mind also that right now the event Uprising is going on and everyone is loving this event. So there's not a lot of people playing just regular encounter / supremacy games. And, didn't want to spend too long playing games in this tank. And at first I thought, you know what, I'm not going to include this game. But one thing I do like about these videos I'm doing, and especially, all of those lower tier tank reviews that I did, that now those tanks are gone. You can't even play them anymore. From a kind of quote unquote historical perspective, it's fun to go back and look at the state of the game. And, this AMX here has gotten behind me and just unloaded 3 shots into me. And so now I'm focusing on him. And the point here I want to make is I've stayed near this rock for a reason, right? It provides great cover for me while I'm reloading. And in a situation like this where I probably should not have taken one of those shots, we're able to finish this guy off without taking any further damage. But he took almost 75% of a third of my life at least. And now that we're done focusing on him, we look up and we're like, holy crap, it's 7-on-3. What happened? But again, that goes to the state of play right now. Wargaming having taken out most of the lower tier tanks means that it's easier to get to the upper tiers, and you're facing players at tier 5 that really shouldn't be at tier 5. If I'm going to put it politely. And so we know now that the heavies over here, KV-1S, this is a tier 6 heavy tank. And this is the reason that I've put this into the video, is because when you get into a situation against a heavy tank, yes, I should be extremely afraid of this tank, because one shot and I'm dead. I can't pen him just everywhere, so I've got to be very selective with where I'm shooting. But here is the circle of death, and so it's not, if I can get a one-on-one situation with a heavy tank, I know that I can withstand that and probably kill him before he kills me. And at the end of the day, we're second highest in damage, highest in EXP in that game. So unfortunately, that's the state of the game right now. They had 4 zeros and a tank that did 1 shot. So you get into this tier 5, tier 6, and the games can be extremely lopsided. And so you've just got to take that into consideration as you're playing these levels. So Fort Despair here, and top tier. So I'm going to push hard to the left. Obviously, as a light tank, you want to be the spotter. That's how you're going to get the EXP points up, if that's your goal. Obviously, that helps you get more credits. That helps you advance tanks faster. So I'm going to round this corner, and you can see how far, using that mini-map, I am in front of everybody. But they're all following. So the idea here is make sure you've always got an escape route with this tank. If you get into enemy territory, so to speak, with multiple tanks, just don't stop moving. That's kind of the light tank strategy. But for right now, since nobody has been spotted, I just put some shots out there One, to see if I might hit something, and two, to see if a light bulb would go off, what would let me know that they're over there, because obviously I'm exposing myself by shooting. And now we can see quite clearly that, yes, they've gone heavy. They're coming around the side. And so instead of trying to chase them from behind, I want to get back in front and kind of just slow down their push. And that's when we come up against the Nightmare, the new Halloween tank, and the Scavenger, an event tank from a little ways ago. And they're both pretty much hull down, not giving me a lot of shots to shoot at. So I'm going to push forward to this next rock. Again, keep in mind, I am here hidden behind hard cover. So we can unload a clip there. We only get 130 damage. I'm shooting APCR because I want to do damage. I don't want these shots to be bouncing. Now, I am in the luxury of having quite a few credits, so I'm not worried about losing money. I've also got premium time, and so that's kind of the reason that I've kept this game in here. So I have both of those, so I'm getting the advantage of the premium time. And you can see all of those APCR shots into a tier 5 KV1 heavy tank. You basically have to be perpendicular to get your shots to go in. You can pen with AP, and he's reloading, but you can see there a normal clip is going to be about 350, and only half of those penetrate. He's struggling here with which way to turn, and I'm thinking I can get some shots in there. We'll track him and back behind hard cover. Switching back to APCR, I just feel like I've got to get this guy out of the game now. And we're going to unload there and get just about all of those shots to go. So you can see, starting with roughly 100 APCR, we've used up about half of them. But at this point in time, it's a close game, and I want just to make sure that we get these shots going in. So no one's really going to be able to keep up with the speed of this tank. So we can play ring around the rosy here all we want, as I've got a couple teammates coming in from behind. But now that we're reloaded, I want to try to get a full clip in there, 300 damage, and our team comes in and finishes them off. So you can see there, not a game where I moved around a lot, but look at this. I lost 33,000 credits in this game because of my use of APCR. So, again, keep that in mind as you're playing the game. Depending upon your situation, if you've got the premium time or not, it is going to be a costly tank to run. But as we get into the last game here on Copperfield, I'm top tier again. It can also be a really fun tank. So I've left this game for last year just because it's such a dynamic play style, and it really is a lot of fun. And as we're getting started here, I'm going to cut through the middle, see if we can't light anybody up and get some early spots. And I've told the team that I'm going right, hoping that everyone comes right with me. But as you can see on the mini-map, looks like we've got a couple that have decided to go the heavy route. And back to just real quick to talk about the two different lines that you can take with this tank. Just be careful when you're choosing the next tank up. The SP1C and the RU251 are fun tanks. They're very similar to this, light, fast tanks, but they are hard to make money at. Very similar situation of having to shoot premium ammo a lot. So that, and plus you don't have the armor, so you're going to be pretty much dying a lot more than you would if you were in, say, in a heavy tank. So keep that in mind depending upon your situation with wargaming and your premium time and those type of things. But as you can see, I've pushed around hoping to be able to flank. However, this PZ4 was here, which meant that I had to stop again behind hard cover. We take our shots and we back up while we reload. Now this KV1 I was hoping was AFK, but since he was looking at me, I figured he wasn't. But I made that decision there to take a tank out, knowing I was most likely going to get shot by the KV-1. Now, I'm expecting my team to have followed me around at this point in time because, and this goes to just general game strategy, if the rest of their team has gone the heavy line and they've pushed all the way around into our spawn, you know, this KV-1 should be all alone. However, you can see, oops, that guy just did not use any hard cover, went straight through the middle, and just got obliterated when their team turned around and came back, which you kind of have to anticipate. So what am I doing in a game where I am down a tank? You know, I am putting distance between myself and the enemy, and now you can see we're down 2 tanks. So at distance there with APCR, we're only getting about 1/3 of those shots to pen, doing about 100 damage out of the probably about 300 that we should be getting. We do manage to finish off that one nightmare, but we're going to have more nightmare. We've got a guy sitting in cap. It's 3-on-2 right now, and that was a horrible decision on my part, trying to shoot the top of a nightmare when I had the side of a Leo on the other side of the map. So I totally wasted an entire clip. But what I'm going to be able to do here is this nightmare has to focus on me, or he has to focus on the other guy. He takes the other guy out, so now it is a 1 versus 3. 65 seconds of cap has been taken out, and I still have 2 tanks to go. And so this is the fun part to me. Just having the mobility, we can come in here, full clip, 223, finishes off the Leo. He had no sense of how to angle his tank or armor. He should have been facing me. Some of those shots would have bounced. He probably wouldn't have died. 93 seconds as we're cresting over the hill, tracks ourselves, and we managed to get into cap at 99 seconds. And so we can just shoot through that front wheel, and there's a full clip, 304. So now we're in the driver's seat. Pretty much, I don't think he's going to be able to one-shot me, but I'm not taking that chance. Who knows what could happen? He could ammo rack me or something. And so on a one-on-one situation, just take your time. Don't rush it unless the clock dictates it. Let him make a mistake. And so you can see here, I'm thinking about trying to just angle up a little bit and pull out with an angle so that he may bounce if he shoots. But it looks like he's making a run around the side, so I go in, shoot, back up, and as I'm backing up, he shoots and misses. And so, yeah, we've done 2,179 damage, and Kolobanov and a Radley 5-kill game. So don't look at the level masteries right now because the uprising mode counts as an encounter battle, so I think it's screwing up all of the numbers. I haven't seen any level 1s or ace mastery badges in a while. So bottom line here, the Leo is a viable tank to be competitive, to carry at tier 5 now. All of these changes cause cascading changes to other tanks, so I'm sure we'll see some buffs along the way. Like I suspect that AMX with 1,000 pen, really difficult tank to drive, needs some help. But, focusing on the Leo, real fun tank to drive. Just don't worry too much about losing money. And as always, guys, have fun out there. Stay safe. Get educated, not fingered. Littlefinger out.